everyone, factoring today's second video. I've already done the 5-day forecast. You can find the video down here on the homepage. Scroll down a little bit and suddenly blink ads. There's also the written version, and you can get to that via buttons at the top page. It's going to be a more unsettled 5 days coming up, and it's going to be a bit cooler as well. It's not going to be a total washout. It won't be particularly cold, but it's going to be cooler and more unsettled compared to what we've had through most of March so far. So check out the 5-day forecast if you'd like to know more about that. But it's going to be extending out to around the 7 to 10 day time frame. And we'll also have a look at the Beijing Climate Center going into April as well. So before I get on with all of that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on our page, just mentioned those, have a browse through widgets and click through the links. You're going to help us to pay the website, and thanks so much for doing that. This is the latest observations, or these are the latest observations from XC weather. We've got a very nice afternoon across England and Wales in particular. The warmest temperatures are down in the southeast, where Luton Airport is at 15 degrees, London City Airport is at 17 degrees, Biggin Hill is at 16 degrees, and so it goes on into the southeastern corner, Gravesend at 17 as well. So our highest temperature is actually 18 degrees. That seems to be popping off somewhere around there. That's at Northolt, 18 degrees. Is around 64 Fahrenheit, so it really is quite a warm afternoon. It's more like sort of temperature you would expect that in May rather than March. So very warm afternoon, make the most of it, because as I say, after today it will be turning cooler and more unsettled. So these are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles the next 2 weeks. The red line here is a 30-year upper air temperature average. We can see we're significantly milder than average at the moment. We are going to be dropping with the temperature at the end of the week. However, we're going to lift the temperature back up over the weekend and into the start of next week before again we drop this. We drop the temperature. This lift up in the temperature just here is in association with more unsettled conditions, though. So we won't have the clear blue skies and very warm temperatures that we've got today. And then we go into next week and it does look cooler. We go back down closer to average. With precipitation, not much coming up over the next few days, but into the weekend there will be a little bit around from Friday into weekend, and then again a little bit into next week. It's not a very wet scenario at all, but it is a little bit more unsettled from the end of the week and through into the weekend. Temperature anomalies for the next week are coming out milder than average in most parts of Europe. A mild week coming up from the 14th to the 22nd of March again. Precipitation anomalies look drier than average for England and Wales, but a bit wetter than average in the north. That's just indicative of things turning a little bit more unsettled over the weekend and into the start of next week. So this is the GFS for Thursday, when we're bringing low pressure in from the Atlantic, so it's likely to be quite unsettled. And that continues into Tuesday as well, with outbreaks of rain pushing south as these ones. We're starting to bring down some colder air with that as well. The air's starting to push down from Greenland. So as a band of rain clears to the south of the east, Monday, Tuesday, turns colder behind it, showers probably turning wintry up in the north. Through into Wednesday, low pressure sitting just to the east of us, so it looks quite chilly and showery. But again, it's not an Arctic sourced air mass, so we're not talking about a real depth of winter type scenario, but it probably is cooler, significantly cooler, and I would have thought it's cool enough for showers to turn wintry there up in the north particularly. That low pressure clears out of the way on Thursday, then we start to reach high pressure in, so settling down, probably with night frost, and as we go through to the end of next week, this is Friday 24th of March, high pressure is ridging through the country, so I would have thought it's fairly pleasantish by day, but by night could be quite cold in the second half of the week with a risk of some frost. This is how we finish up on day 10, bringing up these milder southwesterly winds. High pressure is beginning to slip to the south, so the air is beginning to return from the Atlantic. So a bit of a cooler phase through next week, and then probably by day 10, 25th March, we turn things milder again. This is E70UF, so it looks quite unsettled to start next week, with low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic, brings some rain. That continues into Tuesday. Then Wednesday, that low pressure is slipping down to the south, starting to pull down cooler air from the north. Again, not desperately cold, but certainly cooler, possibly even colder air coming down into northern parts of the country. Into the second half of next week, this is Thursday, 23rd of March, we're ridging the high pressure out to the north and west. So the wind is coming in from a northeasterly easterly type direction, which is going to be cool. It's going to be cloudy, might be cold enough to produce wintry showers up in the north. And then we go through towards day 10, and this takes us to day 10, where same idea as the GFS, a high pressure is ridging through the country then, with I would have thought probable night frost, but by day, because it's late March, it's likely to be pleasant enough in any sunny spell, but I expect things to be quite a bit colder by night than we've been used to, with the chance of some frost. So a little bit of a cooler snap coming up, I think, through the course of next week, albeit we're not talking about widespread snow and hard overnight frost. We're just talking about cooler conditions, possibly wintry showers in the north. And yes, I think there will be some night frost coming through with that. Let's have a look at the Beijing Climate Center for the next 40 days. So these are the 500 millibar height anomalies broken down into 10-day periods. The first 10-day period is taking us from the 16th through to the 25th of March. We see that we've got a trough of low pressure extending through many western parts of Europe. If we come over here, it's extending into Central Europe as well. There is a ridge in the Atlantic. So what this is doing, it's placing us on the cooler side of the jet stream. It's Atlantic source there, so it's not severely cold. We've not got real Arctic blocking, but nevertheless that is quite a chilly scenario there for those 10 days. And I would have thought, again, very similar to what I've just been looking at with the GFS of the ECMWF actually. It's cool, it's showery, probably cold enough for night frost if the skies are clear, and probably cold enough for showers to be wintry, especially so in the north. The next 10-day period, taking us from the 26th of March through to the 4th of April, shows low pressure or below average heights down to the south, and then we've got ridging up to the north. So that's turning the winds through to the east. That could be quite cool. Again, I don't think it's desperately cold, but certainly that could be quite cool to the end of March and the start of April, possibly with, again, the risk of some night frost and probably dragging a lot of cloud from the east as well. Then we go through to the next 10-day period, which is the 5th through to the 14th of April, and we find ridging through the central part of the Atlantic. Again, there's below average heights down to the south and the east of the country. The winds probably coming in from an east-northeasterly direction, so that's likely to be fairly cool, and again could be a lot of cloud coming in with that also. And then we go through to the last 10-day period, which is the 15th through to the 24th of March, of April, I should say, and no real change. Still those areas of above average heights through the central Atlantic, still below average heights to our south and east. So most unsettled conditions here are in the south and the east, so there could be some rain. And overall, it's quite cool as well, because the air is, and the jet stream and the flow is coming from a sort of east-northeasterly type direction. So we've had a very warm spell through February and now going on into March. It looks like the Beijing Climate Center is signaling quite a significant shift, actually, to something quite a lot colder, or certainly cooler, and maybe a little bit unsettled down in the south as well. Actually, this is the temperature anomaly for the next month. This is from the 16th of March through to the 14th of April. It is coming out colder than average there through not just the UK, but many parts, or many central parts of Europe are coming out colder than average in the next month. And in terms of precipitation, actually, the anomaly from the 16th of March to the 14th of April looks mostly drier than average, but you notice to the south of us is wetter than average. That's because the low pressures to the south and to the east. Again, we see it over here. So this again implies that southern and southeastern parts of the country could be more unsettled than northern and western parts of the country, and it could be a bit cooler there as well with those easterly winds. So it is, Beijing Climate Center is seeing quite a significant change take place compared to what we've had so far this year, and particularly through February and into the first half of March. It's looking a lot cooler and potentially quite unsettled down in the south and the east, with a lot of easterly and potentially northeasterly winds. Now, it might be that it's going off on a bit of a tangent, and these long-range models are not really to be relied upon. My suspicion is that we will likely continue the fairly warm spring weather that we've had going through into April. That's what I would have thought is likely to happen. But it is possible that at any point we could get a flip in the pattern and revert to something a lot cooler and cloudy. So let's just wait and see where this goes. On its own, I wouldn't necessarily take the Beijing Climate Center too seriously, unless it starts getting some support from the JMA and the CFS. So we'll find that out on Friday when we do JMA Friday to see what those two models are suggesting. But on its own, the Beijing Climate Center is certainly hinting at something quite a lot cooler through the second half of March and into the first half of April. Right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.